And now joining me with more on the Hezbollah cell that was arrested in northern Israel, Israeli journalist, attorney, and author Ben-Dror Yemini. Ben-Dror, it's great to have you with us now. You know, you've written extensively on these types of cells as well as so-called terrorists in suits. How widespread is Hezbollah and Iran's attempts to foster local insurgencies?
We have a problem. We have a problem because, I mean, what we see is that the West can stand against Russia when Russia is invading Ukraine. But we don't see the same kind of determination when we are speaking about organizations like the Hezbollah, like the Houthis in Yemen, and above all of them, Iran and the Al-Quds power, which now the American establishment is considering to designate them not as a terror organization. I mean, and what does it mean? It means a kind of legitimization, not only to Iran but also to the proxies of Iran, like the Houthis and like the Hezbollah. Just to remind us all that actually it happened in February 2020, a few weeks after Biden entered the White House, they designated again the Houthis not as a terror organization, something which has been designated just by the Trump administration. So we have a problem. We have a problem. I mean, how can we fight them? How can the West fight them? How can we deal with this kind of terror when the United States is again in the road of appeasement towards Iran. Yeah, and it's worrisome.
All right, so I mean,
it's really
but again, though, you mentioned a sort of legitimization, but in addition to that, if the IRGC were removed from the FTO, the foreign terror organizations list, then it would be allowed to receive financial and material support without repercussions from the United States as well. How bad would that be for the Middle East and for the world?
It's going to be terrible because right now we have to bear in mind that actually the most terrible organization, speaking not only about the Middle East, but speaking generally about the death toll that is caused by any kind of organization. It's first place much more than Al Qaeda and ISIS and Boko Haram and all the organizations all together. This is the Iran guards. I mean, so we have a problem because actually we let them do whatever they want. When we all know that, speaking about Yemen, we are speaking about almost 400,000 people that were killed, mainly by the Houthis and mainly because of the support of Iran. The same is with Syria. The same is with Lebanon.
Well, so again, though, many in the West are saying that it's worth it because it's a chip to trade in efforts to sign a JCPOA, which people say is not a good deal, but maybe the best that we have. So again, is it worth it?
No, it's not. No, it's not worth it. It's not worth it because...
Even if it means that we won't have a JCPOA in the end?
Yeah, of course, because what is the meaning of signing this kind of agreement with Iran? What is the meaning? The main meaning is actually, again, that the trade between the West and Iran will be all renewed. So instead of $4 billion today, it's going to be more than $20 billion. That's the meaning. So the meaning is to give so much money to Iran. And Iran is about to invest this money, we know where. Again, in the industry of death. They are for the proxies, for the Houthis, for the Hezbollah, that will be the result. And the result will be a huge bloodshed, again, in the Middle East. But unfortunately, the Biden establishment, they just ignore it.
All right, well, I want to quickly go back to this terror cell in the north because, you know, do you trust that Israel has maybe a good handle on that situation as evidenced by these types of arrests, or maybe they're not doing enough as evidenced by, you know, the TikTok intifada last year and other such movements?
So look, we are quite happy with what we know, but maybe things are happening that we do not know. So, I mean, who said that we can expose all the cells? We don't know. We just don't know, because what we know is what was exposed. So generally speaking, yes, we know that Israel is doing well concerning intelligence and exposing this kind of cells. But it doesn't mean, that we can expose everything. And things happen. In the past, we know that people were part of the Hezbollah, and the Hezbollah recruited them for intelligence, for terror, for other things. So yes, I mean, we are all glad about the cells that was exposed, but it's not enough, and it's not the end of the story.
Ben-Dror, thank you so much for joining us again today.
Thank you for having me.
ILTV Plus, your news from Israel and more 24/7. Start your free trial today. Subscribe at ILTV.tv and watch from any device.